So Ben Affleck is opening up about some of his recent struggles in a new interview with the New York Times. He talked about, this interview was really revealing. He talked about everything from his divorce to his alcohol addiction.
Yeah, you know, Ben Affleck has been obviously in the public eye for a long time. He took a role playing the role of an alcoholic, which I'm sure probably just tapped into some of the stuff he felt and knew, because he's talked about that a little bit.
So this is his new role.
This is a new role. So imagine that that's the role you're playing, and you are actually, in a way, because he's been living through some of it. You could see it just out in the papers and stuff. And he just finally kind of sat down and had a real revealing interview with the New York Times, and he talked about his alcohol addiction. He calls his split from Jennifer Garner, and this is a quote, "the biggest regret of my life."
And he says, he talked about the nature of addiction, saying you're trying to make yourself feel better with eating or drinking or sex or whatever, but that ends up making your life worse.
And then he says you do more of that to make the discomfort go away, and then the real pain starts, and then it's a vicious cycle. I think no matter what your vice is, there's so many of us who can look at that and say, yeah, because no matter what it is, and you think, if I just can go out and buy one more pair of shoes, I'll feel better. If I can just pull that lever one more time at the slot machine, I'll feel better. If I can have one more drink, I'll feel better. And it's like, it doesn't do it.
You know what's it's so interesting to have honest conversations about it. I mean, I think transparency. So by him talking about this, think about how many people are like, wait, is that me? Am I doing this? Am I getting involved in this cycle that I cannot break? And I'll never forget, I was in Maine for my cousin's wedding when we were in our early 20s, which, you know, in your early 20s, you go out at a wedding, you celebrate, you stay late. And my dad said, like, let's go for a walk. And we went for a walk, and he said, you know, I just want to talk to you about drinking. And I found in my life it got in the way of the things that mattered most. And I want to make sure that you just know that it can and be aware of it. And I think at the time I probably was like, I'm not even that hungover, you know, or whatever it was.
What's Dad talking about?
But I do think it was such a model to me about how I want to parent, which is to be transparent about either things that have happened in our family's past or things that you know your kids, that can happen to your kids.
By the way, I'm so shocked that your dad had that conversation with you.
I'll never forget, we were walking, and he said, I just want you to know there was a point in my life where I thought, like, this is interrupting what's beautiful. And he never, I mean, he didn't go to AA. He didn't. Although it's helped so many people.
Sure.
But he just knew that it was interrupting his dreams and interrupting his parenting.
And how profound to not just feel it, but to speak it to your kids. Because I think that's one of those things that some people probably want to say, but they're afraid of, I don't know.
The embarrassment or I don't, you know, but I always appreciated it. I still do, because sometimes, you know, as moms, and I think you've seen studies on this, read articles where parenting is tedious and can be difficult. And it can be easy to open that bottle of wine at 5 o'clock on a Monday. But I catch myself because I've had those conversations. I try not to. For my kids and for me. And I just think by Ben Affleck talking about things like this.
You know, when you just speak about meaningful conversations in general, they're hard to have. If you ever had something bubbling up and you think, I really need to talk about this, it takes such courage, even if it's about a problem you're having with your spouse or with a sibling. But what usually happens after that conversation is you almost always feel better, because it's easy to gloss it over. Like, we spend our whole lives glossing everything over. Maybe it's just a bad day for me. I don't want to bring it up. It's a bad time. It's a bad day. Not today, not today. And then you find yourself years later realizing you buried stuff. And if you have the guts to have a conversation, it changes everything. I
mean, you really think about it, too, because by doing this interview, like he did this interview because he's playing this role. Who knows what his motivations were.
Doesn't matter.
But he has little kids who can think like, Dad talked about, with honesty and transparency, how hard it is to be addicted to something, how hard it is to deal with pain by doing something that that's not good for you. And so to have that conversation, he doesn't even know how many people he's probably helping.
Yeah, I think that he is amazing. This is one other little bit of the article. It said, it took me a long time to fundamentally, deeply, without a hint of doubt, admit to myself that I am an alcoholic. The next drink will not be different. And he does credit his friends, Bradley Cooper, Robert Downey Jr., with supporting him. And I think that's the other thing, too. No matter what your conversation is that you're having or what your struggle is, somebody, or just one person who gets you and who doesn't judge you and who helps you and, you know,
and like sees who you really are and that you're more than that, you know, pain. Because it isn't, you know, Maria is always, we love Maria. She's like, it's not about the alcohol.
No.
It's about what you're trying to cover up.
And in fact, when we were talking about meaningful conversations, I was just thinking about her in that lane too, because she talks about that a lot. Like, do you have the guts to have a conversation, or are you just going to keep going? Do you have the courage to do it? And once you do it, you'll realize, because she's helped me through a couple of those kind of convos, which I was afraid to have. And all of a sudden I had it, and I was like, oh my gosh, like you feel like someone put a pin in your problem and just you could exhale. You said it out loud, and it took guts.
And by the way, when you're dealing with alcoholism, to say to the world, I know that the next drink, I know that I have this problem. I mean, that takes courage.
Yes.
Because if you fall, people are watching. But the thing is, like, I hope we live in a world that when people fall, we help them get back up.
We don't say, there he goes
step
again.
on their fingers.
Absolutely. By the way, there is a new film he's working on, and he's with Matt Damon again.
What?
Yeah, there's another film that he and Matt Damon are working on. It's I think the last film was,
yes.
What's it called? Good Will Hunting.
How do you like these apples?
By the way, that may be one of the best movies.
I
don't
Good Will
care
Hunting.
when that movie.
Should we watch it?
Yes.
Do you know what I watched this weekend, by the way?
What?
Parasite.
Everybody loves it. Did you love it?
I loved it, but do not watch it alone. You did not. Joanne did not prepare me.
For which?
Parasite.
Oh.
I'm dying to see it because Kathy
is.
Ryan saw it. And my friend Mary saw it, and they all loved it. They said they laughed at unexpected points.
It's funny until it's not, and when it turns not, you better have somebody next to you on the couch. I was so scared.
How much of it's scary?
It is.
2 minutes. Let's not.
At the end.
At the end.
Joanne.
2 minutes at the end.
No, there are suspenseful parts for at least 45 minutes of that movie. Thank you.
So there's some suspense and 2 seconds, 2
and
minutes
it's
of terror.
interesting, and it is good. It is very good, but don't watch it alone.